The OMAD diet, 1 meal a day. It's been gaining popularity over these last couple of years, but is it your key to finally getting disciplined and losing that body fat? Well, we'll find out coming up next. Hey guys, personal trainer and fitness coach Matt Eubanks back with you again today with another brand new video. And if this is your first time visiting this channel, I so appreciate that you're visiting, that you're checking out the videos. Please hit that subscription button down below. Please hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything when we upload something new. And please like, comment, and share on these videos. That's how we grow this channel, and that's how we grow this purpose-driven fitness movement. And we always appreciate your participation and your feedback. That aside, let's get to the topic today. The OMAD diet, 1 meal a day. A lot of people call this the 23-in-1 split on intermittent fasting, and I believe it is a type of intermittent fasting, probably the ultimate, the end type of intermittent fasting, the most disciplined way to do intermittent fasting. And when it comes to intermittent fasting, man, I've said that word a bunch of times, 16 hours of fasting and 8 hours of eating is kind of the basic way to do intermittent fasting. And in other words, you would stop eating at 7 o'clock at night or something like that. And then 16 hours later at 11 a.m. the next morning, you start your feeding window again in that 8-hour window from 11 to 7 again. And you do that consistently and you get a lot of benefit from that. 18 and 6 is also another split. 20 hours of fasting, 4 hours of eating is also another split. And then 23-1 or OMAD, 1 meal a day. And so we're going to talk about the benefits of OMAD, and they are extensive. But before we get into that, let's get into the myths behind it. Myth number 1, if I eat once a day, my metabolism is going to tank. And that is conventional wisdom that we have learned over the years, probably 20 or 25 years in the personal training world. We all just kind of regurgitated that information without any scientific backing it. And that's what's so disturbing about what we just go along with is there is no science backing, no credible scientific studies backing the idea that we need to eat every couple of hours to stoke our metabolism. And if we don't, then our metabolism is going to tank. That is an absolute myth. Everything that we go over today is going to be backed by science, and it is going to be pretty much irrefutable from a scientific standpoint. Now, you can argue it from your opinion, but if your opinion is not backed by strong scientific study and research, then there's no point in arguing it. It's just your opinion based on ignorance. And so I want you to do the research yourself. But the OMAD diet is definitely not something that's going to slow your metabolism down. Another myth, a misconception, would be that I'm going to starve if I eat once a day. It's not good for me to just put my body in a starvation mode. Well, eating once a day is not going to starve you. That is the Western diet that we have created in this country over the last 50 or 60 years tells us that we should be able to eat anything, anytime we want to eat it. And you're not going to starve if you go on a 1 meal a day diet. Quite the opposite is going to happen, actually, which we'll get to in just a second. But that is a myth. You can't build muscle on 1 meal a day. That is a myth. You absolutely can work out in fasted states and still build muscle on 1 meal a day. So get rid of the myths, get rid of conventional wisdom. Conventional wisdom is neither conventional nor is it wisdom. If we believed everything that conventional wisdom told us, then we would just go by the government regulations on what you should be eating every day. And basically, you might as well feed cattle the same thing because it's just to fatten us up. And we need to understand that there's a lot of things that get involved with government guidelines, and there's a lot of money that gets involved with government guidelines, with big pharma, big pharmaceutical, big food. These industries are multi-billion-dollar industries that get involved in this, and so those guidelines are messed up, probably upside down completely. And so you need to learn the new science of nutrition and the new science of weight loss, the new science of health. It's not really new science, but over the last 20 years, it has gained a lot of traction with a ton of credible doctors getting on board instead of just regurgitating the same old stuff that's making people sick and keeping them sick. And so get rid of conventional wisdom, get rid of all these myths about this, and let's just start fresh with a neutral mind, because everything we go over today is going to be backed by strong science and really irrefutable scientifically. You can disagree with your opinion, but your opinion needs to come with really good scientific backing, or it's really just an argument that's based on nothing. And so my arguments are going to be based on strong grounding. And so get rid of the myths and clear your mind and learn today about the benefits of OMAD And benefit number 1 is accelerated fat burn. Accelerated fat burn. When you are eating once per day, your body is in a fasting state for 23 hours of the day. 23 hours of the day. There's a ton of things that happen during that time, which we'll talk about in this list. But one of the main things that happens is your body, it goes into a fat burning mode, almost like fat burning on steroids, especially the visceral fat around your gut. And I know that most of you who are wanting to lose weight and wanting to get in better shape, you've got some issues with the gut. And maybe not just on the outward appearance issues, but maybe on the inside as well with your digestion and some issues with that. And this is a huge benefit when it comes to your gut and losing your gut, and it's accelerated fat burn. Next one, you're going to eliminate hunger. Eliminate hunger. We know that the hormone ghrelin is the hormone that is released when you get hungry, to make you hungry. And you have to understand, if you've been eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day with maybe even with snacks in between, then ghrelin is going to be released when you're used to eating. And so at the very beginning of doing the OMAD diet, you might feel hungry at first. But here's the cool thing. After just a few days of doing this, that hunger will disappear. Because your body will get used to that, it'll stop releasing the ghrelin, and so you suppress that ghrelin, which is that rabid hunger and that hormone that controls cravings. You're going to get rid of that, which is a huge deal. Next thing, decrease insulin and inflammation in your body. So many of my videos have gone over this, but decreasing inflammation and decreasing insulin and decreasing insulin in your body is going to be your main thing when it comes to changing the way your body works and the way your body stores body fat. If you control the insulin and bring it way down, you control the inflammation and bring it way down, and those two things are going to be directly responsible for how you burn or store body fat and how you increase issues with inflammation and disease and joint pain, or how you decrease it. And so we will decrease the insulin and inflammation in your body. Better mood and cognitive ability. We've done videos on that as well, but your mood is going to stabilize. You're going to be a much less up and down roller coaster type stuff on your mood. It's going to stabilize, and you'll be in a much better mood much more often. And cognitive ability, meaning that you are going to be able to think clearer and you're going to be able to think better when you are doing the OMAD diet. Decreased blood pressure. That's a huge one. We're getting into medical now, but decreasing blood pressure. So many of you are dealing with blood pressure, and of course it has to do so much with your diet. Your doctor might want to tell you it's all about heredity. It's not all about heredity. It is just as much, if not more, about your diet than it is about heredity. And what you do on the diet side can absolutely overcome the negatives in your heredity or your background. Okay, next thing. Huge autophagy. Autophagy. What is autophagy? Autophagy is, the best way I know to explain autophagy is it's the way God has created your body to where when you go into a fasting state, it increases autophagy, and autophagy takes the damaged cells and the damaged proteins and cleans them up and recreates your body at a cellular level. And so it is responsible for a ton of disease prevention, disease control, disease reversal, because it is creating new cells in your body every time that it is present. And autophagy is present after about 12 to 14 hours of fasting. Autophagy kicks in. And so every day you're getting several hours of autophagy being heightened, which is a huge benefit to your health. All right, next thing, mental clarity. Mental clarity, meaning that you are getting rid of brain fog. I've spoken many times on how brain fog has affected my life. And it was probably the number one thing that affected my life. And it's probably the number one thing that has changed since I have learned to do fasting and ketogenic type of lifestyle. And so mental clarity is going to be a huge part, and getting rid of brain fog is going to be big. Disease prevention, we talked about a minute ago. Everything from neurological type of diseases. We've got a video on that as well, but you've got the brain power. We know that that being in a ketogenic state, which is what a fasting state gets you into, feeds the brain ketones, and the brain runs off of ketones, which sparks the mitochondria in your brain, which was dormant and dead before because of the glucose and the insulin resistance that has happened because of the Western diet and the high sugar diet that we've been eating. And so what an OMAD diet does, especially when combined with a ketogenic diet, is it it gives disease prevention. It prevents things like Alzheimer's. It prevents things like dementia. It prevents things like Parkinson's. It prevents things like even cancerous type things. It prevents so much, so many gut issues, so many bowel issues. Disease prevention is huge. Disease reversal. I know it's controversial, but hey, the research that has been done over the last 20 years has been huge and has been very, very promising. It's still young in its stage, but disease reversal, meaning that, for example, a cancer cell grows and feeds off of sugar. And it is 7 times more receptive to insulin and to sugar than a normal cell. And so as we eat our high sugar diets or even medium sugar carbohydrate type diets, those cancer cells are being fed. When we starve those cancer cells by cutting out our sugar and reducing our inflammation and reducing the inflammation and insulin, and reducing all of that, then the cell's dying. And those dying cells turn into good cells, replace them. And so you're actually killing cancer cells. They're actually dying. They're actually killing themselves when they don't have anything to feed off of. And so disease reversal. We know that in cognitive and neurological type issues, we know that there has been huge plus side in research on things like dementia and Alzheimer's, moderate stage or beginning stages especially, where someone who's put on a ketogenic diet for 12 weeks is going to have a huge uptick in cognitive ability during those 12 weeks because of what happens with the ketones feeding the brain and the mitochondria being sparked and those power plants, which is what mitochondria are, being multiplying. And that brain power starts to come back. So we see disease reversal. We know that in diabetics and people with insulin resistance, pre-diabetics, we know that in type 2 diabetes, it can be reversed just by combining intermittent fasting and a ketogenic diet. We know that even type 1 diabetes is affected tremendously by a ketogenic diet and some intermittent fasting. And so disease reversal in a lot of situations. Gut disease, digestive issues is a huge one. Huge. Plus, let's just be practical. You're saving time and you're saving money when you're doing OMAD. Eating once a day is saving you time and it's saving you money. Think about how much money is spent on grabbing something while you're out, or eating out, or going through a drive-through window, or getting groceries. How much time is saved on preparation, on thinking. Everything we do surrounds eating. Imagine if it didn't. If everything you didn't surround eating. How much money would you save? How much time would you save? Hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month for anybody who's doing this. And ultimately, it fixes your metabolism. We started it with the myth of my metabolism is going to slow down and die, which is a complete myth. It's never been backed by science. But we know something that is backed by science is when you do this, your metabolism actually stabilizes and fixes itself. And so you're actually going to benefit from a 1 meal a day diet. And one thing I didn't put on here, we'll just add it right here, is increased HGH, human growth hormone. When you increase your HGH, you increase your fat burning, you increase your skin, you increase your age. It has age-defying effects. And it starts happening at about the 10th or 11th hour of a fasting state. All right, so let's get practical now that we've gone over all of these benefits and the myths to avoid. Let's kind of get practical about how to do this. Okay, not everyone who is wanting to do the 1 meal a day diet is going to be jumping right into it from a high sugar diet. Now, there are some of you that can handle that, but I suggest that you do so slowly. So I suggest intermittent fasting. I suggest starting off with 16 and 8, which means, again, you're eating at night, your dinner time, and then you're going 16 hours without eating. Now, without eating on all of these, including the OMAD, I'm talking about drinking water, drinking mineral water, adding pink Himalayan salt to your water, adding some apple cider vinegar to your water, adding some stevia or Splenda to your coffee, and not having more than a cup or two. And otherwise, it's just water. We're not snacking on things. We're not eating fruit. We're not doing fruit juices. We're not doing any of that stuff. This is water. Otherwise, it is not genuine fasting, and all of these benefits aren't going to happen from you taking a little bit of this or a little bit of that. Your vitamins are fine. Your minerals are fine. Some sodium is fine. Some electrolytes, potassium, some fake sugars in the form of like a liquid stevia or something for your coffee. But for the most part, you're drinking water throughout that time. 16 hours of fasting, 8 hours of eating window. And then you would go to 20 and 4. And then you would go to 23 and 1. So I would say if you are brand new to this, start with doing this for a week. And then go to this for a week. And then a couple weeks down the road, you'll be ready for OMAD. And once you get to OMAD, do OMAD for a week. And by the way, if you do these 3 weeks back to back to back, and you combine that with a ketogenic eating plan, which is a much, much lower sugar, much, much lower carbohydrate, much higher fat eating plan, if you do that, you're going to see a huge difference already after 3 weeks. So just know that. But once you get to the 23-1, then you can start tinkering. You can do that for a week, and then you can say, okay, I've lost X amount of pounds. I'm doing really well. Now I'm going to tinker with mixing them together. Maybe I'll have 16 and 8 for 3 or 4 days out of the week, and I'll do OMAD for 2 or 3 days out of the week. Maybe I'll stick with OMAD for a while. Maybe I'll stick with 16 and 8 for a while. Maybe I'll go to 20 and 4. And you can mix and match it. But this is a good way to start. A week on 16 and 8, a week on 20 and 4, a week on 23 and 1, and then go to the OMAD diet for a week and see where you're at. But 3 weeks, there's a challenge for you. In 21 days, you will absolutely recreate yourself, and you'll see every single one of these benefits. If you do it right. This isn't kind of doing it. This is doing it right. I hope this helps you. Take a screenshot of this. We'll also put a lot of this down in the description below. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Please like, comment, and share. I want to hear your feedback about this video. And as always, we thank you so much for visiting our channel today, and God bless.